Today I'm interviewing Lauren Little. Lauren is a writer, she does CrossFit, and she does ballet, which, I mean, maybe the CrossFit's not so artsy, but the writing and ballet are definitely artsy. So, Lauren, why don't you tell us about yourself?
I'm really bad at that. I am a writer, for the most part. I've been doing ballet since I was a kid, like a teeny tiny toddler kid. And then I've been doing CrossFit for probably the last 3 years. That's pretty much my life in general when I'm not at work. Yeah, I'm not very good at talking about myself.
How did you get started as a writer?
I've always been kind of like interested in writing. I guess because like as a kid, I've been reading since I was probably 2 or 3. By choice, like my mom didn't make me read or anything. I was just interested in learning to read. So I started really young because in my school we'd always have like spelling words and we'd have to create stories or sentences out of them. So I was always like overachieving in that, like not even by like on purpose overachieving. I was just like naturally good. So I was always like interested that way, and I was really creative with my writing. And as I grew up, it just like I would, not write for a couple of years and then get back into it. So that's kind of how my writing's like progressed. I've always been in it.
What influenced you growing up?
I do have like some childhood things. Like it wasn't really as far as writing goes. Like I have some childhood memories where I'm just reading and I would like edit the books that I was reading. I was reading like Wizard of Oz or something in like the 2nd grade, and I was telling my mom like all of the sentences that weren't like grammatically correct because the books were so old and I was like 8 or something at the time. And she's like, those books are really old. No one cares anymore. But as far as like my writing goes, I just kind of found just writing with the spelling words to be really exciting. I don't really know like what exactly inspired me to write. I don't really have any memories about writing like what I used to write when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure there was something about like horses and stuff because I was really big into horses. So I'm pretty sure there was like horse memories that were written into the spelling words and stuff.
What do you think has changed most about your writing over the years?
I think, as far as like writing goes, like I think every writer kind of goes through like a constantly evolving stage because you as a person are constantly evolving, So like, your experiences kind of change how you write or kind of influence that. But I think I've been pretty consistent with my writing as far as like which genre I like to write. I try to challenge myself and do like, I'm stronger in my 3rd person point of view than I am in my 1st, so I'm always trying to like challenge myself to write more 1st person or to write like 3rd person from like a not often seen kind of a point of view. But as far as like my genres go, I write really well in like sci-fi and like high fantasy. So I've always kind of like stuck with those and just evolved in that. When I was a teenager, I had a goal to write 1 book in every genre, and I was like, I think halfway through one of my like early books, I just like gave up. I was like, yeah, no. I would rather write about like mages or warlocks.
What do you like most about your work?
I don't know, that's a really hard question. I kind of really like how I represent different people. Because like growing up and kind of finding out who I am in my adult life, that has recently shaped my writing. And obviously like, being a giant feminist, be represented and trying to like get representation of other people in writing, because most, and almost everyone can agree with me on this, most books are white, heterosexual, and usually male. And I feel like that's been a little bit worn out. So I feel like that's what I'm focusing on, and that's what I'm really proud of, is like focusing on other representations. I like to challenge myself, and I like to see that in my writing, that you can tell that I'm challenging myself in certain ways. I also tend to like my endings.
Well, I mean, from what I know, you usually have kind of brutal endings. Like, you kill off people, you twist the knife, like, it's like your goal or something to hurt your readers.
As I'm, like, giggling evilly on the side. I wouldn't say it's my goal to emotionally compromise my readers, but it is technically one of my goals to get, like, an angry fan mail telling them that they like threw my book out the window or something because they just hated my ending.
What do you dislike about your work, or what do you think you could improve on, I guess?
Probably, like, obviously, like, I try really hard to represent my characters really well. So that always needs improving, just because, like, you know, human nature itself is always, you know, trying to represent others, while not actually trying. Human nature's awful at that. But I think, like, that in person, like, the representation always could be better. So that can always be something that I work on. And I'm actually really terrible at writing, like, arguments. I don't know why. I'm just, like, as violent as a person that I am, I cannot write people screaming at each other for some reason. I've gotten a lot better at it. Like, more of my arguments are more believable now. But if I'm trying to get someone to, like, vehemently shout at someone, it comes across as, like, a polite little, like, hey, you did that wrong, you fuck. You know? Instead of, like, a giant screaming match.
How many works do you have that are finished? I mean, editing aside.
Completely finished, I have 2. So not editing, like, you know, editing aside 2. And then I have, like, God, it builds every week, I swear. But I have many more projects on the side.
Do you have any excerpts from any of your completed works that you'd like to share?
Yeah. I'll go with my first one. Like, I have a really solid, like, I have a connection with my first one just because it was my first, like, completed work as an adult author. But it's going to involve 2 of the guys that are in the book. One is named Rurik, and the other one's Yuri. Yuri is an ice mage. He is of a dark skin tone. He has classic white hair and bright blue eyes. And then Rurik is more on the, like, golden brown tan side. They're both, I like both of those characters. Yuri's actually one of my absolute favorites. So, Yuri nodded silently, watching a group of soldiers as they walked by the 2 men. He noticed a few had similar skin colors to Yurik and Lee. One of the soldiers was very dark in his skin, perhaps too much sun, Yuri thought. The soldiers turned at the end of the street and patrolled back to the men. It was then that Yuri noticed the white hair under the silly hat they wore. He swore in his language, and Yurik looked at Yuri confused. Yuri didn't look to Yurik, but stood and silently followed the soldiers. Yurik cried out in confusion, but Yuri didn't pay any attention. He drew out a dagger and slid it up his sleeve. Yurik caught up with his friend shortly after. Yuri slammed his paler friend into a wall and stared into his eyes. Yurik, I need you to distract those soldiers while I lure that one away. There was no question. It was not an order, but Yurik did it anyway as soon as Yuri let his hand off. Yuri stared hard at the dark soldier and waited for the signal. Once Yurik was able to distract them, Yuri walked quickly into the fray, locked eyes with the soldier, and walked back out into the alley he had been hiding in. He grinned when he noticed the soldier was following him.
What story was that one from?
I don't really have a current title for it, just because it's not post-edit. But currently it's just called, like, Revolt, because it's a revolution story.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Some of the best advice I've ever gotten is, like, literally just write. It took me a long time just to learn to, like, not critique my writing. So I think, like, growing as an author and as a writer, and as a person, it's just, like, learning not to be so hard on yourself. You just really can't let anything stop you.
I'm gonna quickly ask you some questions about ballet. When did you start, I guess, as a dancer?
I started when I was 3. My mom, she told me this when I was a youngin'. And I had gone up to her and told her at 3 that I wanted to dance on my toes, having no previous awareness of what the hell dance was. So, I've technically been dancing for about 19-20 years now.
We were talking earlier about, like, what you wanted to do in life and such. Is dance still, like, a part of it?
I'm actually technically too old now.
Oh, really?
To audition or to become, like, a professional dancer. And I'm also too tall / too heavy, I guess. I don't want to be, like, too fat, because, you know, that's impossible. There's no such thing as, like, too fat. But for dance, they prefer, like, most of the companies that I've auditioned for, prefer their dancers under 5'5", and in between the weights of, like, 90 and 120 pounds. I'm a lot more muscular than I was, because of CrossFit, so, and most of them don't like that look, because it's not, like, lithe or fairy-like. I have been auditioning a little bit, like, I auditioned for Disney, so I'm kind of auditioning more for, like, Broadway dancing right now. Which is interesting, because I don't do a lot of, like, Broadway dancing. I am trained in jazz, but it's different.
Like I said earlier, you were teaching in a studio for a while. Like, would you like to keep doing that sort of thing? Keep teaching people?
Yeah, I think, like, that would be really fun. I would love to keep teaching, like, dance in general. Like, it doesn't matter to me if I'm teaching ballroom or ballet, as long as I'm teaching, because it's really nice to be able to like give your wisdom and your learnings to other people.
Where can people find you online, or I think you have Tumblr. I know you have your main Tumblr. Do you have a writing blog or anything?
Yeah, I actually I have my main, which is the OedipusWrex. I have my writing blog, which is a girl and her pen, which has 2 dashes in between a girl and her pen. And that one's very, very new. I don't post any of my like projects. I post progress on my projects, but I don't post actual progress stuff or like project stuff, just because obviously I want it published and I don't want people to steal it, and I'm like really paranoid about that. And then I actually have a dance blog as well. I co-admin one of them, which is, it's called Dreaming of Ballet, and I co-admin that with one of my good dance friends, Dory. We give advice and post stuff, and tend to kind of, I don't know, it's really nice. It's really fun. So, and then also my Instagram, which is the same as my main Tumblr blog. So
you can find all those links below in the description. Well, Lauren, thank you for doing the interview with us. You're the first writer that we have had on the show, so yay! Claps and yeah, joyous. Maybe we can insert some joyous sounds. Well, the yay, congratulations. Yeah, like some horns. I'd love if we could get some little streamers, something popping out on the side. Confetti, exactly. Lauren's super awesome, and you should definitely check out her writing, or what she has at least of prompts and stuff like that. Maybe if you schmooze with her, you could get little bits of her writing, as I've been so blessed to get a couple of chapters and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll see her one day on bookshelves. That would be pretty awesome, pretty sweet. That's the episode.
Yay, thanks for having me.
No, like I said, thank you for doing this, especially so last minute. See ya next time, guys. Yeah.